That was when everything started. That night, Takano and Tomitake died. The next morning, word of the incident had spread throughout Himizawa. They planned to talk about it during the evening meeting. The mayor, however, had an appointment at the hospital, and as planned, he went there without telling his family. He got a checkup at the hospital. Uh, ate something. So we're just recapping everything that happened. Okay. And then there was an unexpected delay on his train ride back. When he returned, the meeting was already about to start. The mayor changed clothes, got on his bicycle, and hurried to the assembly hall at the shrine as fast as he could. From when he heard about the incident on the night of the Watanashi until he showed up at the assembly hall, everything he was doing that day was done in secret. During that time, nobody found out that he went to the hospital alone, he ate alone, and he got on the train alone. That all meant he had absolutely no contact with anyone else. You couldn't have even called him on the phone. Okay, but what does that mean, Keiichi Mabara? Why does that matter, Keiichi Mabara? Ah, uh-oh, what did we just realize? Kei-chan, what should I do? What's wrong? Tell me. We're not keeping secrets from each other, right? I, Old man Kimiyoshi, I told him everything. I told him everything. I told Old man Kimiyoshi everything. That night, I told the mayor that we snuck into the ritual storehouse. Also, that someone saw us and was out to get us. Right. What then? Old man Kimiyoshi didn't get angry. He smiled and told me that probably, if I was properly sorry about it, there was no way I would be deemed away. He was really smiling, and he told me to leave it to him. Uh, Sweat burst out of my body like bullets. They became more long strands and slid down from my forehead to my nose and fell. Oh, great. So then, what does it mean? Hey, Keiichi Mabara, no more playing dumb. When did she tell him? She just said she learned of the incident from the phone call her father had made that morning. The mayor had left the house first thing in the morning for his appointment at the hospital. He didn't tell anyone where he was going. Nobody knew about him going to the university hospital. Furthermore, his train ride back to his house was delayed by an accident. As soon as he got home, he rushed out to the assembly hall. Then the meeting at the assembly hall began and continued until it was dark out. Then everyone left. Nobody saw him after the meeting was over. He just disappeared. Which meant, which meant, which meant, um, Barbara, are you alright? If you're too hot, I could turn on the air conditioner. Hmm. Another part of me was messing with my thoughts, demanding that I not think any farther than that. My head was pounding violently, and the fluids packed inside it all blended together until nothing made sense. Oh, you almost got it together there, Cage. Ah! It was just about to settle, yet it had been smashed and melted in the blink of an eye, no longer able to retain its shape. Mabara, are you in there? Uh, yeah. Ooshi lit yet another cigarette. There was yet another cigarette butt placed in the ashtray. Was it displaying the passage of time? Had I had my thoughts been frozen over for that long? Try to tell you everything I know. In return, feel free to tell me anything you want, Mabara. Um, my mind had become a gigantic oozing mess. My brain felt like it had been totally minced by the blades of a blender, and I couldn't think. Now, don't clam up again. If there's any misunderstanding, I'd like to clear them up first. I don't think you're the culprit here or anything. Oishi gave his best attempt at an adult smile. I know the four of you snuck into the ritual storehouse that night. Everyone in the village heard rumors about it for the next day. That in itself means we should take you in for trespassing, but that isn't the problem. It's what was inside. What was inside that made the people who snuck in there end up as sacrifices? There, there wasn't anything. As soon as I said I regretted confirming my presence there, but I knew it didn't matter anymore. Was there really nothing in there? I mean, everyone who went in is being sacrificed one by one, you know. Even the mayor and Rika, who switched the lock on the door, were sacrificed. What was inside that could have caused such terrible things to happen? I was far too tired to keep quiet about this. Perhaps that was Oishi's goal all along. But again, that didn't matter anymore. There were just a lot of torture devices that were used a long time ago. I looked around at them with everyone. Was that really all? That was really all. There was nothing terrible that would make you keep silent, like a pile of psychoactive drugs. No. Maybe a secret poppy workshop. Oh my gosh! They're not drugs. That's not what's causing the madness either. Perhaps there were mountains of Soviet or Chinese handguns. Oh yeah, I forgot this is during the 80s. It's 80s or 70s, I can't remember which one. Eight, it's no, it's during the Cold War, I believe. It's their time frame for this. So yeah, you're talking early, or you're talking mid 85, 86, I believe. I don't know. I can't remember now. There weren't any suspicious wooden boxes or containers packed in there. There was nothing as exaggerated as what Oishi was hoping for, but I felt like it in a way there were plenty of terrible things hidden in there. From the perspective of someone who viewed the storehouse as sacred, whether or not thought I had seen some crazy things didn't matter in the slightest. The four of us broke the taboo. Punish us. That should have been what happened. We put in a request for a search warrant thinking that there might have been some secrets hidden in that storehouse. Ah, it's been the sabotage of the century. They said it would be an insult to religious figures and something about the right to free religion in the Constitution. Ah, jeez. That's why I really didn't have any other resources but to ask you since you went in there. There really was just old, rusty, dusty torture equipment. Nothing else stood out. Then Tomitake and Takano were killed as punishment for having broken the taboo. I didn't have an answer for the only part. I suppose I won't bother hiding anymore. You're the only one to escape harm so far. Everyone but you has disappeared, and yet you alone are safe. What's the difference between you and them that would protect you, but bring harm to the others? There's a key point there. Everyone except you. So, what Oishi's telling us is Tomitake, Takano are gone, which we already knew about that. And now he's telling us Shion's gone. We were just talking to Shion last night. Huh? That's what I want to know. There was something wrong with what Oishi was saying. You're alone. You alone. Yes, Shion. You alone. What? Wait a second. What do you mean by you alone? I'm saying that you alone have been left alive, right? Out of the four people who tiptoed into the storehouse for ritual implements, I mean, the only one left alive. Hold on. Shion was still. Jiro Tomitake and Mio Takano died that night, and Shion Sonozaki disappeared the next day. Wait, what? Wait a minute. We talked to Shion about the mayor, and she apparently disappeared with the mayor. What? Or we talked to her after? Huh? Sadly, I know what happened. Ugh. There's a reason I made a point when we went to check Rika's house, and it was Keiichi and Mion going up the ladder, check the second floor windows, and Mion started freaking out about Satoshi's death and how Sakato was cursed. There's a point to that, and a point to what Oishi's saying. I'm not going to say because I know the truth. Only you are still safe and sound at this point. Why only you? I'm saying that's what I want to know. Shion disappeared. That's impossible. I intentionally raised my voice, but I didn't care about that. Tomitake died. Takano died. And Shion disappeared? When did she disappear? What is this guy talking about? Oh, well, no, I thought you were long since aware of this. This is the first time I've heard of it. Shion disappeared. When? Well, going back a bit, she disappeared the day after Wanashi, the night the mayor disappeared. Going back a bit, stop saying stuff I don't understand. Shion Sazaki spends the night at relatives' houses, depending on her mood on any given day, so no one thought much of not knowing where she was. She frequently takes days off from school too. Her teacher has been pretty troubled by it. I didn't ask about any of that. I'm asking you when Shion disappeared. I told you it was the day after Wanashi, but we were with her. We talked with her. The fluids in my body all reversed direction. I lost my sense of balance and everything I could see started to warp and twist out of shape. I simply couldn't endure it. Hang on. Hang on. Shion had already disappeared. Then, then, that night, that phone call, who was that? She called me every night. She encouraged me. We vowed that we'd do our best to live on and not be erased. Yes, that should have been a phone call with Shion. Should have been a phone call with Shion. Should have been a phone call with Shion. Key words. Should have. She took breaks from class like it was nothing, and her family wouldn't listen when I told them, so I didn't bother calling the school in the end. So it ended up taking quite a while before we realized she disappeared. Felt a stabbing pain like needles were being pushed into every pore of my body. It started in my back and began spreading throughout the rest of me. When it completely covered the surface of my skin, it began to warm its way inside my stomach as well. Don't you remember? We talked at the library the day of the Watanashi. Shion was there then. That was the last time we saw her. No one knows where she's been since. That's that can't be. That day Oishi had only caught me and Shion bounded away, lying that she needed to go to work. Didn't she call me that night? Her job was at a restaurant called Angel Mort, right? She hadn't been there since that day. She's been completely absent ever since. The person at the restaurant couldn't get in touch with her. He was really worried. That can't be. It can't be. It's only circumstantial evidence, but after she left us at the library, but before she made it to work, I think it's appropriate to consider her having disappeared during that time. After that, she ran away without me? It seems that you didn't know. Maybe if you had said something earlier, this would have gone more quickly. Now you understand, right? You're the only one left. You're the only survivor of the four who slipped into the ritual storehouse. It couldn't be. It just couldn't be. If something else happens, it would happen to you. I need you to understand that, Mabara. It can't be. It can't be. It can't be. Shion had already disappeared. That can't be. It can't be. I talked to her the day before yesterday. I talked to her last night. She was going to call me again today. That was Shion on the phone. Shion on the phone. Remember, Keiichi was mixing up Shion and Mion initially. That's because of how similar they are. Appearance and dialect. Uh, it was from Shion. From Shion. Shion has long since disappeared. Next will be you. Then who was on the phone those past nights? Who was on the phone those past nights? Who was on the phone those past nights? That's. It can't be. I lied down on the couch and stayed there dazed for a while. My mind was completely blank. I couldn't think about anything for more than a few seconds. There was a note in my house saying that mom and dad would be home late and that I should have some ramen or something for dinner. I could make it whenever I got hungry, but I had no appetite, so I just stared blankly at the ceiling without eating anything. The hands on the clock were already pointing at 10. Would I get another phone call like that today? Even though Shion had already disappeared. Would she still call me? Were, where were they calling from? And who were they? The more I thought about it, the more I started to tremble. I thought that about I even thought about just disconnecting the phone line. If I had been thinking a little less logically, I really would have done it too. No shit. Hold on, Keiichi Mabara. Oishi admitted it himself, didn't he? That Shion went missing a lot. Couldn't she have just gone to relatives that Oishi didn't know about and have been there ever since? Shion and I were both being targeted by somebody, so it wouldn't be strange to think she went somewhere she usually didn't in order to hide. That must have been why Oishi couldn't locate her and why he labeled her as disappeared. As disappearance. Yeah, that had to be it. Shion hadn't disappeared at all. Again, key word. She hasn't disappeared. Then my right hand moved on its own violation and slapped me on the cheek. Its cold sting let me calm down a little. Ah, you slap yourself. Ouch. Don't just convince yourself of the most convenient possibility, Keiichi Mabara. I knew I didn't want to admit she had disappeared. Admitting it would mean that something terrifying was definitely happening. I just need to figure out whether Shion was the one on the phone or not. Would I ask her if she was actually Shion? That seems like an incredibly absurd thing to do. Still, don't run from this, Keiichi. If the person on the other end still believed that I thought she was Shion, then that gave me a tiny advantage. Casually, completely casually, I would listen to what she had to say. Of course! I saw that you were lurking. And fend her off. I would tear the skin off the monster. It would definitely be really scary for me. However, as the last survivor of the people who went into the storage house that night, this was my duty to perform. Oh shit. Still, then who? Who could call me and pretend to be Shion? Slowly getting there. Come on. I may have only heard her over the phone, but her voice shouldn't be that easy to replicate. That was definitely Shion's voice. It sounded just like her. There's one other person that's just like Shion. It could have only been Shion. No. There was someone though, wasn't there? Someone who sounded just like Shion. Now we're getting the point. Mion. Mion. Who else could have done this? At this point, seriously, after all this time, all those little things that didn't quite make sense about Mion until now overwhelmed my mind. Like being questioned about sneaking into the ritual storehouse, and how she shook the ladder while sprouting curses. Wrong! Who else? Who else could have? Not Mion. Why would Mion? Again. I thought back to the things about the Sonozaki family that I heard from Oishi and Shion. uh, if I remember correctly, Mion is the older sister. Shion's not. Shion's the younger. Mion was always entangled in the accidents. Oh, press the wrong button. In the position where she was opposite. Some of that information includes things that Shion had told me after she disappeared. I madly scratched at my head. Courage, give me the courage. Just a bit of courage to pick up the phone. I know it will ring tonight. It would be so easy to run away. That, though, would be the same as making it easy for them to erase me. I cannot run. I must stand up and face it. After all, the next sacrifice would definitely be me. I was sure Shion would use trickery words to try and trap me. Be careful, be careful. I'm scared, I'm scared, I'm scared. I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this. No shit. Here we go. At that point, it rang. The phone rang and I didn't know where the call was coming from. Shion had disappeared. Disappeared a long time ago. No, only 2 days ago. This is only the fourth. Yeah, this is the fourth night after the disappearance. After the Wanashi. Disappeared the night after the Wanashi. Yet, until today, she had been calling me like nothing happened. Now again, tonight, the people that had disappeared, their corpses simply hadn't been found. I really didn't think they were alive. So if it really was Shion on the other end, then did that mean she was calling me from another world? Really? The mic's almost full blast. So yeah. Of course that couldn't be. A living being was calling me, pretending to be Shion. Shion was long gone, and yet, as though she were alive and well, the phone continued its insistent ringing. I didn't want to pick up if I didn't have to. I had just concluded though that not doing so wouldn't solve anything. Then what would I do after I answered it? Would I immediately declare she wasn't Shion and ask who she was? Alternatively, would I pretend I was still fooled and try to grab her by the tail? That would probably be the safest thing to do. What I was most afraid of was what the person on the phone would do when she realized I knew she wasn't Shion. However, as long as I continued to let her think I was fooled, she wouldn't do anything extreme, right? uh, if I just make sure to be careful, that should be the safest option. I've made up my mind. I'll answer the phone. Once I do that, I'll talk to her as if nothing happened. That wasn't that wasn't all I Ugh. That wasn't all I do this time though. I'll scope her out. Who was she? What was she thinking? And what was she after? Why was she doing this? Was she really the one who killed Tomitake and Takano? What happened to the mayor? What happened to Rika and Sakato? First two, no. Second 2 or second 3, including Sakuto. Yes. I reached out for the receiver, my arm trembling. There were too many things I wanted to know, too many things I wanted to ask. I was scared. I should start by picking up the phone. Pick it up, Keiichi. Pick it up, Keiichi. No shit, pick it up. Hello? Oh, how relieved I would have been if it hadn't been a call from Shion. Kei-chan, it's me. It's Shion. My momentary convenient and above all fleeting prediction was ripped out into 1,000 pieces. I couldn't help shaking at this point. Get ready for this. It took a long time to pick up. I thought she weren't home, and I was about to hang up. Sorry. I was just in the bath. Did your family not pick up for you? Could your parents be out right now, Kei-chan? I failed. I let her in on a fatal piece of information that I was currently the only one in my house. God damn it, why would you do that? Well, no, they're not really. Anyway, have you heard? About Rika and Sakuto? No. What happened after that? Were they found? Nah, they weren't found. Kei-chan, please don't lose hope. If Ooshi hadn't let me know, then I might have allowed myself to shed a tear or two at Shion's considerate words. Instead, now that it had come to this, I couldn't take her words at face value. This person on the other end of the receiver, the more perfect a Shion they were, the more my blood curdled in fear. Rika and Sakato, they were kidnapped, weren't they? Yes, I don't think there's much doubt. Just how cruel and grave a meaning did those words hold. Their weight astonished me in that moment, and and then a moment later, God damn it, I can't even read tonight. I was overcome by numbness and felt like I would pass out. I had asked if Rika and Sakuto had been kidnapped. Shion in turn had answered that there wasn't much doubt. This cruel meaning behind her words. Rika and Sakato were no, I mean, I'm sorry. About the mayor. What do you think happened after he was kidnapped? Do you think he's still alive? What happened to Rika and Sakato after they were kidnapped? That's what I wanted to ask, but I frantically caught myself. What if she had given that question a terrifying response in such a way it sounded like it had nothing to do with her? I was scared of that, so I immediately brought up the mayor. That said, however, much I talked about the mayor, er, I think he was killed. Hey, wait, that was quick. I think it might be really hard to kidnap someone and keep them like they are. As long as they're not hostages, it would be most practical to kill them once you're done with them. The world started to bend so much I almost lost my balance. The scenery in my eyes whirled around and around like the hands on a clock and tried to swallow me whole from below. I frankly put a hand on the wall to support myself. A moment later, a severe nausea welled up within me. How was she saying such things so lightly? Kill them so readily? I mean, what's a human life or two anyway? It's a horrible thing, but I think that's probably what happened. If the mayor was killed, then did that mean the same had happened to Rika and Sakato? No, that couldn't. They weren't some random old man. It was Rika. It was Sakato. They couldn't kill them so readily. It's probably better to think that Rika and Sakato ended up the same way. Uh, Those were words I wanted to hear the least, and I fought them back with a scream of my own. Even though it couldn't change anything, I still couldn't help but scream. I know the damn truth too. I know what actually happened. But we're not in that arc. We are in the answer arc. This time the tears flowed. I've been confronted with the most horrific outcome, and that I've been trying to avoid considering ever since last night, and I cried. There was no longer any doubt that it was my fault. I killed them. No, not you. I killed Rika and Sakato. I succumbed to the weakness of my own heart and confessed everything to Rika. That's why they were killed. Admit I killed them. When Rika looked at me with those innocent eyes, if only I hadn't given in. I, I, I. Even my voice gave out, and yet I still cried and cried. Kei-chan, please just try and calm down. Rika and Sakato, they've been killed. We couldn't even find their remains. And well, I would never be allowed to even apologize to their faces. If that was to be my punishment, then how brutal a punishment it was. I think Shion tried to comfort me, but I didn't hear any of it. What are you going to do to gain by doing that? They're they're definitely going to target you and me next. Please, I'm asking you, get a hold of yourself. Please, please. Shion was shouting, imploring me with a voice that sounded like tears were in her eyes. However, I was coming to hate the sound of that voice more and more. This Shion killed them. I had no doubt that this person killed them. Why? 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 Why kidnap someone and then kill them? Screw curses. Are people's lives really that cheap? Erasing them and killing them without a second thought like this. You're right. You're absolutely right. It would take a demon. I felt like crushing the receiver in my hand. How long did this person plan on acting like it was someone else's problem? There was there was magma in the pit of my stomach, and it felt like it was going to erupt at any moment. Hey, Shion, please tell me, why did Himezawa start needing someone to die on the night of the Wanashi? That's what I like to know. The fighting over the damn project was already over and done with. Hadn't enough people been cursed already? Why is it? Why? If there's a reason, then say it now. I was incoherent at this point. My emotions had broken through the dam inside of me, rushing forth, and I couldn't stop them. There were no simple questions. This was an interrogation. Shion herself hadn't realized it yet. It was just too funny. It was so funny that I couldn't stop crying. I understand how you feel, Kei-chan, I really do. The damn wars ended a long time ago, yet murders and disappearances keep happening every year under the guise of Orishiro's curse. Why? Why is it happening? Some of them had nothing to do with it, and some of them didn't deserve to be cursed. So why? Why? That's what I'm asking you. I want to know that as much as anyone. Both our raised breaths could be heard over the phone. Listen, Orishiro's curse never existed. It's too unrealistic. Just like you said, someone in the village is using the grand name of Orishiro's curse as a justification for continuing these murders and disappearances every Wanashi. They were cunning. They were using the curse as a convenient tool and made a system where would get rid of two enemies in the village every year. And this year, that system killed Takano and Tomitake. Then why wasn't that enough? Why did the mayor, Rika, and Sakato have to get killed too? I don't give a shit about the past. The only thing I care about is why Rika and Sakato needed to be killed. Why was that? Or why is that? I didn't say a word to Sakato, you know. Why even her? Why? A silence fell between us. Shion didn't answer for a while. Kei-chan, please, stop being mean. A sob. Was Shion crying? I don't have any idea what's going on either. Everything's changed when we went into the ritual storehouse that night. Hmm. It was the same for me. As I listened to Shion's bitter weeping, I could feel my agitation subsiding. When I heard that Takano and Tomitake had been killed that night, I doubted my ears. Then I realized it instantly. I realized what sort of position I was in now. The four of us snuck in there. Kei-chan, you and I weren't won't be so conveniently forgiven. When I thought about that, it made my chest so tight. It was so terrifying. You know that feeling, Kei-chan, don't you? There was nothing fake about her words. She even understood how I felt. That's why I confessed everything to old man Kimiyoshi. All of us entered the forbidden storehouse. It was just a little bit of fun. We knew we shouldn't have gone in, or we shouldn't have done it, but it really had just been for fun. It was only a bit of exploration, that was all. Takano and Tomitake, who went in with us, were killed shortly afterwards. They met such miserable ends. Since that day, I've been living in fear of when I would be attacked. There was nobody except Old Man Kimiyoshi who would help me, so I asked him to save me. Old Man Kimiyoshi, he wasn't mad. He smiled and said, if you're really sorry, Shion, then you will never be demoned away. He really did smile at me and told me to leave it to him. Shion cried bitterly, recalling the beloved mayor's death. It was such a sad voice that none who heard it could prevent it from twisting their hearts. Again, did I let my emotions take over and go off at her? She was in the same situation as me. She should have been my one and only comrade. Thump. My heart pounded. My other self, deep within my mind, whispered to me, "Don't forget, Keiichi Mabara. Don't forget about the mayor on the morning after Watanashi. He was told the Takano and Tomitake's deaths over the phone and committed to a meeting that evening. He went to the hospital appointment. He didn't tell his family. He only made it back just in time for the meeting. He went straight to the assembly hall. That's what Ooshi said. When did you let the mayor know? Huh? I'm sorry, Shion. It must seem like I'm kicking you while you're down, but Shion, you told him, right? You told old man Kimiyoshi, the mayor. Yes. When did you let him know? Huh? I begun to get scared of saying it aloud after hearing her sad voice. I wasn't saying it was contradictory, though. Besides, if there was a contradiction, then I wanted Shion to explain to me. Did you know that the mayor had a severe case of hemorrhoids and had gone to the hospital for treatment? Uh, Kei-chan, what does that have to... Please answer me. If you didn't know, then just say so. There was a momentary silence. Then after stammering a few times, she replied, I knew that. He had hemorrhoids. It looked like sitting down was really hard for him. He was going to the hospital. You know which hospital, right? I'm sorry, I don't know that much, but Kei-chan, what does this have to do with... Shion didn't know what hospital the mayor went to. That meant it was impossible for her to have gone all the way to the hospital to confess everything. Since she didn't know his destination, then she obviously couldn't have seen him on the train either. If there was any other chance of her for her to contact him, it would have been after he came to Himezawa. The train, however, had been delayed and he only got back right before the meeting was about to start. He didn't have time. There wouldn't have been enough time for him to listen to Shion spill the beans. I want to ask you straight, Shion, when did you tell the mayor about everything? When and where? Your answer doesn't have to be precise, but please give me one. Kei-chan, why are you asking that? Her sobs pierced into my ears. Ah, boo-hoo. I was taken by the illusion that I was bullying her. Even so, I'll say it. If I'm wrong, then please correct me. Please prove to me that you're the real Shion. It was impossible. The day the mayor disappeared. From dawn until he vanished, there was no opportunity for you to contact him. Eh, that's... The mayor left first thing in the morning for his examination at the university hospital all by himself without telling anyone. Shion, you just said you don't know what hospital he went to. So you couldn't have contacted the mayor until he got back. Isn't that right? His train back was delayed by an accident, and he didn't return to his house until the meeting was about to start. So there was no time for you to have told him before the meeting started either. I heard Shion repeating her weak sobs. That sort of feminine voice automatically ripped into my heart. It was so painful for me to say it. Shion, did you go to the meeting too? Did you attend it and tell him there? If you didn't, then there wouldn't have been any time left. After the meeting was over, the mayor disappeared on his way home. Shion went to the meeting, didn't she? Did she or didn't she? The question was so simple to answer, but she didn't give me an immediate response. Um, actually, with the meeting, you didn't even go to the part-time job you said you went to that day. I'll say it more directly. You hadn't been seen since we were at the library together. Boom. Kei-chan, well, Shion Sonozaki disappeared a day after Watanashi. Therein fell silent as the grave. It was so quiet that it was like the phone cord had been cut. I couldn't sense anyone there. Ooshi says you've been missing. Despite that, you've been calling me every night like this, haven't you? Shion's sobs were torturing me. Oh, boo-hoo! So I'm pretty sure I hadn't said anything wrong. Please, Shion. If something I said was wrong, please say so. Shion, I'm begging you. Shion, there's no way you could have seen the mayor, but if you did see him, if Shion ever did have the chance to meet with the mayor on that day, then that meant then you saw him after the meeting. In other words, it could have only been right before he disappeared or else afterward. There goes the maniacal laugh. Hemazawa disease, or better known as Hemazawa madness. There we go. Beep, beep, went the dial tone. I stood there dazed for a while until I realized she had hung up on me. Shion is gone. Or is she? Now comes the fun. Oh, we got more scrapbooks. Yay. I want more scrapbooks. I think there's only one more chapter, right? Yeah, we're on the last chapter now. Woohoo. Let's see. Scrapbook 11. Problem with twins. Now, the thing is, these hints actually do give you a little more detail. That's why I'm reading them. This is not limited to just Himazawa, but in Onigafuchi village especially. The three families detested giving birth to twins as successors. The long-term dictatorship built on the precarious balance of the three families must have feared collapsing under the weight of internal strife from things like family quarrels. According to the literature, if twins were born, then they had to be killed off. With that, the very fact that both the Sonozaki family successor, Mion Sonozaki, and her twin, Shion, are alive in itself deeply in itself deeply interesting. Perhaps the current leader, Oreo, is sympathetic. Oh, I know you're not crying over there. Uh, of course, the twins were not cared for equally, and as the heir, Mion received special treatment. From what I've heard, despite the two of them looking exactly the same on the outside, the talent lies solely with Mion. My own observations of the two of them don't leave me with that impression. Tradition dictates that the leader of the Sonozaki family is said to inherit a demon, and they tattoo a magnificent one on to his or her back. Yes, Shion is, but we also know the damn truth. We've seen that damn anime. In accordance with the tradition, there is an extremely high possibility that Mion has such a tattoo on her back. From what I've heard, there is apparently a maleficent demon tattooed on Oreo's back as well. Then I wonder what sort of tattoo belongs to the heir, Mion. I really want to see her back. No, you don't! At the Suzumojang parlor. Yay. Reserved for the day. Suzumojang parlor. Clatter clack. Hey, Kura, you're the last one here. All the youngsters are here already. Excuse me, miss. Oishi handed over a convenience store bag with a carton of cigarettes in it to the old lady who owns the Mojang parlor, and she scurriedly made herself scarce. She was used to she was used to this by now. Oishi, good work today. What? Were you all earnestly waiting for me? You could have just gone three player. Everyone's sitting at the Mojang table in a small parlor where Oishi subordinates, but there were no tiles laid out anywhere. Everyone, I'd like to thank you for your days of investigation without sleep. Thank you. Energetic responses filled the parlor. Already, it had lost the atmosphere of the place of entertainment. The situation is not looking good. The chief appears to have backed down due to Congressman Sonozaki's threats. In the coming days, we'll hand off Takano's murder to the Gifu police and give the missing persons cases of the disappearance of the mayor and the others to the community division. A damn upstart chief. The veterans in the room cursed him. All of our requests for warrants were turned down as well. I've even been told by our section chief. Ouch! I don't read like a fourth grader. Fuck off. I've been told by our section chief not to go anywhere near the Sonozaki house. We're certainly in a bind that we are. And this incidentally, it looks like I'm getting orders soon to go to training at the Metropolitan Police Department starting next week. After that, I've been told to take a paid vacation in Izu. Well, I suppose that ain't bad. He heard a few dry laughs. It wasn't anything to laugh about, but that was all they could do. This always happens, but incidents are a lot like locking your keys in the car. The keys you need to unlock the doors are always locked inside. For cars, you call JAF and they'll pry open your door. For instance, Kuma, show the map. Kumatari Tani flipped over the whiteboard. On the back was a map of the Sonozaki premise made with magnets. Now, I've been doing this job for a long time. I got a lot of faith in my gut, but this could be the one time it was wrong. No. Anyone worried about their retirement money has until the count of 10 to get out of here. Always should begin to count to 10, and everyone counted along with them. It was their famous 10 count resolution. 9, 10. Oh, no one's leaving. None of you love your families too much, is that it? Everyone laughed uproariously, cheering things up. I want everyone to go over their materials. Memorize the locations and blind spots of all the security cameras. Come on, you'll stand by in the command car. If something happens, you'll switch with me and take over. Kamiyama will head up infiltration team A. Atsushi will lead team B. Observation teams will set up at points 1 through 8. Banchi, you're responsible for keeping a strict timetable. Control your rotations so HQ doesn't get wise. Now the team on standby has the most important job, alright? If the section chief asks where I am, play dumb. It's not like they don't already do that anyway. I'll handle escorting our guests. I'll probably take them to the venue, so wait patiently, everyone. Wonderful Cave? Keishimabara, that is. For what I've seen, we're set for tomorrow or the day after in that regard. It'll be easy. Someone gets ahead of you. Someone gets ahead of you. And that's all the tips. Yep, that's all the tips. So that's our last tip of the game. No! Let's save just in case it crashes on us. As always. Neckos are always good. Neckos are better than doggos. Keiichi! Keiichi! Just leave him alone. His friends went missing. It must be really hard for him. Normally my dad never shows me any consideration, but this time he did. Should Keiichi stay home from school for a while too? I think it would be safer not to go until the police do something about this. Maybe. Compared to what could happen, taking a few days off wouldn't be a bad idea. Anyway, how is it logical not to close school during such a dangerous situation? Hell no! What do those teachers think our children are? Hell no! I'm not no damn servamp. Mom and Dad were getting pretty riled up, but at this point I couldn't care less. Besides, that wasn't the only thing I couldn't care less about. The breakfast table, the food in front of me, the time and date myself. I really had no interest in anything. This feeling, it was like a dead fog in my mind. It felt like getting dizzy after taking strong medication. Keiichi, how are your studies going? You've gotten farther than the other kids, haven't you? If you have, then you can take a few days off, alright? I didn't even feel like answering. First of all, with Keiichi's grade, it's only him and Rena. There's no one else in their grade. Well, sorry. Scratch that. Mion's also in their grade. So it's only those three. And one's not showing up at school, and one, yeah. Today was Thursday. Only 4 days had passed since the Watanashi festival. Such a short time, and yet now things were completely different. Everything had changed. The tranquil village, bright and clear as if it were an Indian summer, had undergone a total reversal. People were made to disappear every night, and we couldn't relax when walking out in broad daylight. The village had become a world of fear. I'm hoping I can finish it in the next 50 minutes, because that's roughly when I'm supposed to be done, 6 o'clock, but we'll see. I might go until 6:30. We're on the final chapter, so I'm probably going to finish this. I had no right to curse this out. After all, the one responsible for everything was me. That night, I couldn't resist My honestly tiny little and incredibly stupid curiosity and broke the taboo. Psh, I don't care. That's the point of the live stream. I get to talk to you, and I already know what happens. Good anime ruins it, but I don't give a fuck. This isn't somewhere we should be going, isn't it? Or is it? Ugh. And again, I can't talk at all. Oh well. I'm not even drinking and I'm talking like this. Damn it. Let's not. It's a crime to force your way into a locked building even if you don't steal anything. Shion, now that you know they weren't having some secret rendezvous, you had enough, right? I don't want to do something like this. What if Rika's dance ends while we're messing around here? I prattled on as I took the lock from Tomitake's hands and put it back on the door. I'll forget everything I saw here, so come on. Let's go, let's go. I know you're not here for the damn game. I'm not playing Cyberpunk, which is tomorrow. Takano was frightened, but I pushed her away. Tomitake grinned painfully. Shion's shoulders drooped as if to call me an idiot, even so I didn't care. Kawaii? Who? Huh? I pushed everyone farther and farther away. Rika's dance was still going on. Then at last her dance was brought to a close with a roaring applause. I too, until my hands turned red. I clapped. And I clapped. What we wish you actually happened. Uh-oh. Ding dong. Ding dong. The witch is dead. The witch is dead. Isn't that Rina? She's here because it's your usual meetup time, isn't she? I looked up at the clock. It was 5 minutes past my time to meet with Rina. Keiichi, shouldn't you take a few days off from school? You're right. Thanks for being so considerate. I rose from my seat. I went to the entrance to greet Rena. Good morning. We're going to school as a group starting today, so you can't be late. That's right. Really, Krogan? Emote, great. If we, the ones farthest away, were to be late, the younger kids on the way there would be waiting for us. I think I want to take some time off from school. Uh, okay. Rena answered shortly, nodding. I think you should do whatever's best for you, Keiichi. So you don't need to feel that you're weak or anything. Mm. Oh, and here. It's a notice they're sending around. Could you give it to your mom? I think it has a lot of important announcements in it. I took the notice. There were a lot more pages than normal. The one on top announced the disappearance of the mayor, Rika and Sakato, and that they wanted any information about them. It made my heart ache. You know that's a lie. The police are looking as best they can, too. They'll find them for sure. Yeah, they will eventually. Just be patient, okay? Rena said, smiling in an attempt to give me courage. Rather than that, though, her smile looked like it was because she herself wanted to believe they were safe. Rena, you're not going to question me. Nope. Rena, you know, don't you? About that night, what I... Do you mean when you stuck into the ritual storehouse? God damn it, everyone does know. I was speechless for a minute, then I bit my lip. Made up my mind and nodded a little. So it's all out in the open. Really, I shouldn't do bad things like that. Michan was really mad. So she was upset. I suppose she would have been. I don't think she was as angry about you sneaking in there, though. As much as about you hiding it from her. Uh, maybe Kei-chan, maybe you should have told her yourself and apologized. I should have told her myself and apologized. That troubled me.